good.
No,
Next door.
We're good. We're good.
Okay.
That was just a little.
So where should I restart?
Take 4. Camera A. Camera B.
See your hands.
And off of you, Patrick.
Okay. One of the 7 practices you mentioned.
Well, the interesting thing when you're trying to talk about new ideas is they often don't get accepted as well in your own community as they do in other communities. As we began to talk about these ideas of a kind of an experimentally oriented, vision-driven church, faith communities were the least responsive at first. Interestingly, startup folks could see the connection between the two, and so that started out with me going to a summit for nonprofits in DC and pitching the ideas about what faith communities could steal from business startups and what business startups could steal from faith communities. And I didn't know that it was going to go anywhere, but the whole Twitterverse at that particular venue just kind of burst. And people were coming up and saying, you know, this is a really great idea, this whole idea of minimum viable belief. One person said, mind blown. Books aren't usually thought of as products, but yes, they really are. One of the advantages of doing a Kickstarter campaign is you can begin to do more of an open source kind of way of putting together a book. This allows us to do something different. I've always been the kind of person who thinks that when we bring people together in an entrepreneurial way, that we always end up with a better product. That we always get a lot closer to something that works, a lot closer to something that's true, if we have a lot of different voices at the table. It allows us to open things up where other people can have input in terms of trying the processes that we're talking about, trying the various of the 7 practices we're talking about in the book. Try them, give us feedback, give us information about how it's working in their areas. So the idea is with that we can do a very open process. We can get lots of input from a lot of different people. We can actually create a network in the process of actually financing the book. We can, what I see happening is that the book will include a lot of the experiences of a lot of the various people who are becoming partners in this, and as it moves along, they'll continue to develop a network of people. So I can see the Kickstarter campaign developing lots and lots of hands-on, real-life, real-world kinds of experiences in which people are putting the principles and the practices in the book to the test out there, feeding them back in, and then that becoming a network over the long term. So FaithX would not be just a book, but it would be a network of people who are out there trying experimental ways of creating faith communities of all sorts, and being able to share those best practices and the new things that they're discovering with each other. And that's a whole lot better than just having a book that might sit on a shelf somewhere.